Hey there, welcome to A Year of Trek. My name is Mish, and what an amazing 3 hours of the StarTrek.com Star Trek Day. It was really, I think, looking at the schedule, it's really only supposed to be 2 hours long, but 3 hours. It was amazing. Before we get into actually today's episode on the cage, I wrote down some things. So really quick, I'm not going to give away any spoilers at all. However, Prodigy is going to be October 28th, which is fantastic. And then we're getting Discovery Season 4, November 18th. So I don't know how many episodes Prodigy has. All I know is that we will be finished with Lower Decks by the time Prodigy starts. So remember, rules here. We watch whatever we're doing for Star Trek during the day and then anything new. So we could be coming with several podcasts a day for everything. Yeah. So it's going to be fantastic. Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to this. Plus we got not a trailer for Strange New Worlds, but we got a casting announcement, and oh my God, fucking amazing. That's all I can say. It's not even French. I'm not even going to excuse my French. It was amazing. And some of the characters that they're going to have just, absolutely amazing. Brought me to tears. Totally brought me to tears. Plus, we got a new trailer for Picard. And so just amazing. Now, on to today's episode. Did you watch The Cage today? Because that's what we're supposed to watch, The Cage. The original pilot for Star Trek. It was good enough to get a second pilot done, but not good enough to actually get the show purchased because it was too cerebral. Gene Roddenberry had basically said A Wagon Train to the Stars, and Wagon Train was a Western, needed more action. So I wrote some notes. I'm not going to rehash the entire episode like I do with Lower Decks, but I did write some notes, some things that kind of stood out to me. So of course, we open up, it's, they're getting these strange things, strange waves. At some point, the captain, I don't know if this is before he goes to his quarters or not, but as he's walking through the halls, we see staff in civilian clothes, and we don't see that at all really until the Next Generation. When he's talking to his doctor, getting a drink, he mentions how he's responsible for 203 lives coming. And so, of course, the original generation, it was 400 plus crewmen on the Enterprise. So that was definitely a change. He makes a comment to number one about getting, he says, and this is in response to the yeoman, his new yeoman. I can't remember the actress's name or even the character, but I think she just was yeoman. Anyway, so he mentioned something about getting used to a woman on the bridge. And of course, number one, Maychelle Barrett kind of gives him this eye, and he looks at her and he goes, well, you're different. And so, of course, it's, if we were able to expand on that storyline, which we will in Strange New Worlds, but at least the thoughts behind that original one it'd be really cool to kind of see what's behind there. So when they beam down to the planet initially, and then they're going and listening to seeing the little singing flowers or the singing petals. Hadn't noticed this bit before, but Leonard Nimoy has a limp. Like, it's like he's got a rock in his shoe. And I remember hearing a story either Nimoy told or whatever. Actually, I think it was a story that was told between Shatner and Nimoy when they did this convention thing together years and years ago. That, of course, the boots, they just didn't have the budget. And so when they went and bought boots, they didn't really pay attention to the sizing of the actors. And so Nimoy or Shatner ended up getting a pair of boots that was actually too tight. And so they were hard to walk in. And so I think I'm thinking that maybe that's what was going on. It's just, so he had a limp, and of course he smiles. We know about that. One thing that I noticed, and I, just writing down notes, is Pike introduces himself as the captain of the USS, or United Spaceship Enterprise, which I always thought it was United Starship. Never really knew what USS, for in America, it's the USS Enterprise would be, as for the aircraft carrier, it would be United States ship, but United Spaceship, United Starship, it all makes sense. The theologians, okay, so they have these, huge heads with little bubbling things, the little veins. My mom, I remember my mom telling me this story, not just to me, but to other people as well, that when I was born, and I want to say, I remember having hair. Well, I don't remember having hair. Pictures of me, I had hair, but I remember her mentioning, and I want to say that it's in relationship to me, but I could be wrong, that she just saw, she would see babies' heads and the veins and totally think about the theologians in Star Trek. So I thought that was pretty funny. Remembered that. One thing that I noticed, okay, so when Pike goes initially into his cage, and they repeat it, of course, all the time. Of course, that's what the title is. But you kind of get a look at other alien races. One is kind of like an ape-like creature, and the other one is kind of a bird-like creature. And I totally connected this thought that the counselor on the Cerritos, I'll never be able to pronounce it correctly. It's this bird creature. And so I was like, ooh, I wonder, the bird creature in the cage, is the counselor the same race? I mean, in Lower Decks, they totally make old school original series connections. And maybe that is one of them. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm going to start using a new line. Well, not a new line. It's 55 years old, but when one of the theologians, the main theologians, is telling Pike to drink the nourishment, and that says that, it can taste any way you like, it'll look any way you like. He says, "You will now consume the nourishment." So, as a Trekkie, as a sci-fi geek, there's lines that you just kind of say from movies that make connections to other things. They made a point of this in the movie Free Enterprise, of just making movie lines. So I have a grandson. If you guys didn't know, I think I'm going to start using this on him, because for some reason I didn't use it on my own kids. I don't know if that's my failure as a Trek parent, but anyway, I'm going to start when I give him a bottle or food. It'll be, "You will now consume the nourishment." A call out to, because the theologians are trying to get Captain Pike to like Vina. And so they're taking him into all these memories. And so when he was, of course, talking to the doctor, and he's like, oh, I could go back home and basically live on the range. When he's in that setting, he actually calls it a menagerie. And I hadn't really picked up on that before, but of course that's, they use that footage for the 2-part episode, The Menagerie. So I thought that was kind of an interesting click. There was a lot of things that I kind of noticed that I hadn't really noticed before, or at least I had noticed them, but they're not standing out like they are now. The other thing, I didn't make this a note, but I'm remembering it now. So when he's in that little area and he says, oh, that's, you've got these little city dome things kind of in the background. And he says, oh, that's Mojave. This is where I grew up. Well, the only thing I can think of is the Mojave Desert. And so, and then they actually make a mention. I think it was Bina makes a mention that, man has progressed and has been able to turn, she says, oh, this long ago used to be all desert. And so I was like, oh, that was definitely something I had never really caught on with before, that little throw in. I wrote the women with an exclamation point. I can't remember. I think this was when number one and the yeoman are kind of beamed down. I think it was one of the theologians that said that. So of course, this episode was supposed to be, it was too cerebral. So of course that's why, it wasn't the pilot, it didn't get the show started. Of course there's lots of throw-ins of the well-written morals, as opposed to the you must believe what we want bad writing that we have in some of the episodes today. Not to say that all the episodes of yesteryear were good, but much more intelligent writing back in the past than there has been recently. Anyway, I wrote this down. The theologian basically talking about how, due to our past, we don't like to be confined, that we'll actually, we'll die before we become slaves or be put in a cage or anything like that. And he's, and basically to quote, your species is too violent and you are too violent and dangerous a species for our needs. I think I'm going to make this a shirt. I don't know how it's going to work out though, but I see a shirt in the future. So, and then of course, the episode ends. You've got, and this is definitely something I did not catch earlier, but then, you have the yeoman who's like, oh, well, which one of you would have picked, cause I was down there. And of course, it was, the theologian had pointed out that she was actually saying, hey, you've been top tier, but I don't, unattainable, but now there's some type of, potential. So of course she's like, ooh, which one would you have picked? Would you have picked me, or would you have picked number one? The whole Adam and Eve thing. And of course she's shooed away, and there's, oh, Adam, Eve, what's this? And so of course the doctor gets in on this, and he says, he says Adam and Eve. And I like this. Pike says, he's like, the one thing that this mission has brought out is, as in, oh shoot, I wish I had written down the first part. But anyway, he says, as in all ship's doctors are dirty old men. never caught that line before. That's towards the end. And then of course it goes to black and they go off. Of course I watched this on Paramount Plus. So you have newer special effects. I don't have this on VH. I might have this on VHS, but I have I have DVDs of the original series and where they did not, it was, I actually have a set where they have, you've got the old version and the new version. So, okay. It was so great watching this episode. I have actually tried to not watch any Star Trek aside of Lower Decks until today, because of course today is the first official day of a year of Trek. And with all of the shows that they announced and the dates, and of course, got doing this every day. I hope that I'm not able to, I hope it's not going to be super, super late every day, because then people on the East Coast won't be able to watch unless of course it's super late for them. But that all being said, it's so good to start watching this. I really enjoyed the episode. Yeah, it was just great. Now, tomorrow, what are we watching tomorrow? Tomorrow we've got The Man Trap and we've got Charlie X, just 2 episodes. Try and fit them in. I'm going to be back on here. And we've got Lower Decks. So 2 different podcasts tomorrow, 2 different podcasts. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do them, because at 5:30, my normal time to do Lower Decks, my daughter has a volleyball game. So I might actually be doing a podcast remotely and maybe a little bit early. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try and work out the logistics tomorrow, but we've got 2 podcasts. I did some recording for today's Star Trek. Maybe I'll do a special podcast. I don't know if maybe I'll do it live. I don't know. Haven't decided yet, but we'll do a special one for Star Trek Day, because there's a lot to talk about. Anyway, there you go. I need to throw out a thanks to Rob Ray for the new opening. I think it looks great. He's working on an ending too. Got to have ending credits as well. So anyway, there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me hear what you think. If you watched it, let me hear what you think. And of course, we'll talk more Star Trek tomorrow. Live long and prosper. We'll see you on the next video.